So every once in a while, I like to scroll through real estate listings, just casually daydreaming about homes I'll never be able to afford. And when the existential dread starts to set in with a hint of bitterness, I turn to my favorite guilty pleasure, and that is the absolute fever dreams people list on Zillow. Anyway, I had the idea to build some of these houses in House Flipper, sell them to unsuspecting buyers, and then see how much profit I can squeeze out of them. First up is this house in Gainesboro, Tennessee. And I give you some details on what the description for this house says. This cozy barndominium is the perfect blend of rustic charm and modern comfort. This unique home offers an inviting open floor plan, ideal for those seeking a cozy retreat with a touch of farmhouse elegance. Wait a minute, is that a garage door? Oh yes, because nothing says elegance like sheet metal and a Ford F-150 in your living room. And you know, open kitchen concepts are very popular right now, but the problem always is you will have all this mess in your living room. So if you want to enjoy some fresh air while you're dining, you can just pop open that garage door and enjoy some al fresco dining. But you know, just in a very sad way. And this is the bedroom, or I would describe it more as a sleeping pod. The bed takes up all of the floor space, so at least you won't be bothered by any clutter, or movement, or personal space. Also, this bathroom. Technically, it's got everything you need, but crammed into the space of a broom closet. And what is this shower? It's more an existential crisis chamber than a water feature. But at least you get a heartfelt message while you're full on naked questioning your life choices. Alright, let's start building. I took the forest cabin as a starting point because it's quite similar to the Zillow object in terms of square meters. And I'll make the houses in story mode because somehow I started in story mode, renovated 2 or 3 houses, and then switched directly to sandbox mode. However, since I'm a little bit limited with the tools in story mode, I will not recreate the houses down to every detail, but I am going to try to stick as closely as possible to the original. Alright, here is the finished house. We have an open plan garage living room thing with a kitchenette. We have a tiny bedroom where you should leave the window open at night because otherwise you will run out of oxygen. And a small bathroom crammed with everything you need. And it's all decorated with elegant metal sheet. So who can resist such a dream property? Let's put the whole thing up for auction. Oh wow, not bad at all. I would not have thought that we make so much profit with that. Okay, next up is this 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in Grand Junction, Colorado. So from the outside, it looks quite nice. The mix of black and white and gray and this black lining, I mean, it's a bold choice, but I mean, why not? When you walk in, you're greeted by white shiny marble floors, a chandelier, and a glass door premium view to a huge garage with a basketball court. The living room has a kitchenette, again, black, bold choice, and a stripper pole. That's weird. I wonder how that fits into the rest of the... Oh, is that a jacuzzi? What? Why? I mean, I understand this is a room to have fun in. Who am I to judge? But look at how much space there is in the rest of the room. You can't just put a sofa and a coffee table over there because that would be weird. But if you leave the room just as it is, that's also weird because then it's just an empty room with a jacuzzi. And honestly, the rest of the house has the very same problem. Everything is just so sterile and cold and impractical. This is one of the bedrooms with the bathroom, and look at that, there is no separation between the bathroom and the bedroom. Or, you know what? It actually is very practical, but not for living in it as a home. For dogs. It is practical if you have a dog. By the way, as I'm editing this video, the owner has given an interview where you can see a little bit more of the furniture on the background. And there it is, 2 black leather sofas. And I'm sorry, but may I say it? This is just awful. And that's exactly why we're going to build it. For the project, I picked the Sunny Bungalow because, again, it was the most similar to the original. And I'm gonna ignore the fact that we're turning an idyllic and sweet home with flowers in the front yard into a bachelor party pad. Neighbors are not gonna be happy. To build the party temple, I cleaned the house, I gutted it, I adjusted the room layout, and for that I built a little extra extension in the back and in the front and on the roof, and I basically changed everything. After that, I added a few tiles here, a little plaster there, very little furniture, and voila, here it is. And I think I included everything. The weird living room with the jacuzzi, it doesn't have as much space as the original, but I think it's still enough to make it awkward. And there is the giant TV. Unfortunately, I don't have the landscaping tool in story mode, so I couldn't dig a hole and put the jacuzzi in it, but I think it's still close enough. Then there is the big garage for 10 cars. Two very strangely shaped bedrooms with no separation to the bathroom. On Zillow, the whole thing was listed for $1.6 million. So let's see how much we can get in House Flipper. Oh. No, 278 money. What a big fail. I guess people in House Flipper don't really like empty houses. Okay, whatever, I take it. The last house is the exact opposite of empty. You're looking at 453 square meters in South Orange, and oh my, that was such a large project, it really took me forever. The entrance area actually prepares you very well for what to expect in this house, and the colors are definitely early 2000s. I get flashbacks to my first apartment when I see this yellowish ochre color on the wall, because that's what I had on my walls. So this was everything back then. When I look back at it today, it's hideous, but there was a time when that was very on trend. That's what you see as you turn the corner, and guys, look at how much stuff there is. And the thing is, I assume they tidied up and cleaned the place for the pictures, but can you imagine what this room looks like on a normal day when you just come home and throw your stuff on the next best surface? And of course, a crazy house needs some crazy taxidermy, so here you go, a giraffe. I don't understand what it is with dead animals in these houses. Okay, I think that one is fake taxidermy, so no dead animals in here for decoration. Compared to the landing room, the living room seems almost empty and boring. But the sofa also takes me back in time. 25 years ago in Germany, the brand Brez was very popular. Every suburban middle-class family who wanted to be so individual and so modern at some point had a Brez sofa in their home. Here, I've looked up some pictures from a German website for secondhand furniture. This is what they look like. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna make fun of the kitchen because it's actually pretty cool. Sure, would it have needed a hand mixer clock and colorful vases? No, but generally speaking, I find it very appealing. This is the other wall of the kitchen that you look at from when you stand at the stove. And I know it's pink, yeah. Together with the red tiles, it's a lot, but it's not gonna change my mind. I think the kitchen is fine. So for the dining room, we have mustard yellow and brown, mixed in with some purple. I think that also is a classic. As we come upstairs, we encounter this reoccurring theme that is throughout the house, and this is pictures and vases, vases and pictures. Think about how many years the owners must have probably collected all of these items. First bedroom, and this one is probably my favorite because the color combination is so outdated and so tacky. Doesn't look like one of these old advertisements for Toy Slime on Nickelodeon. Do you remember these? I mean, you really have to give it to the owner. They've been consistent with their style throughout the whole house. They really committed to their idea. That's the third bedroom and also the master bedroom, I think, because it has a walk-in closet over there. And yeah, what can I say? It stays true to the overall theme. We're not gonna look at all the other rooms the house still has, because I think you get the picture by now. Let's change the house flipper and see what we can do with that. I used a great cherry dimension for this project because it is one of the larger houses with 371 square meters. I already owned this house because I bought it for another video, which I never finished, so it was already cleaned and gutted. I only had to adjust the layout a little bit. And because the original house uses colors that are kinda outdated, I couldn't use the standard color buckets in House Flipper. So I figured out the RGB code with the highly professional color analysis tool of Microsoft Paint and then use custom colors. And then I spent hours and hours of choosing decorative vases and pictures. At least that's what it felt like. And then the house was finally ready for the buyers to move in and enjoy the whole glory of this maximalist home. So here's the entrance area with a display of the first vase collection to prepare visitors for what they're getting themselves into. A landing area with so much to see. You remember this was the room with the giraffe. And then of course there is the kitchen with the red tiles and the green walls, and I already liked it on the pictures, but it also turned out so nice in House Flipper. This is the dining room with the yellow walls, the brown furniture and the purple elements. For the hallway alone, I think I used every picture on the House Flipper gallery because it were just so many. First bedroom was the blue and green slime bedroom, and it is still my favorite because look at that. Doesn't that look like visiting your parents and sleeping in your old kid's room? The yellow bedroom gave me a little break from the vases because that room was filled with hundreds and hundreds of books. Last but not least, the green master bedroom. The layout is a little different from the Zillow pictures, but it still has all the essential characteristics. It also has the walk-in closet filled with a whole bunch of stuff. Alright, let's see for how much I can sell this. Alright, Louis Williams bought this house for $806,000 money, which gives me a profit of $365,976 money. But look at that, I've spent more than $300,000 money on renovation. It's not spectacular, but it's a solid profit. I'm happy with it. Wow, that was so much fun. I think I want to continue on story mode and try to sell every house at least once. So if you have any houses you want me to recreate, let me know in the comments. If you like this video, consider to give it a thumbs up. That would mean a lot to me, and see you on the next video.